it never ends. Tune in, lean and feel the groove. Every moment, a vibe you can't lose. It's for the culture, by the culture. Braylon Lee's got the soul to show you. Breaking it down, lifting it higher. Feel the rhythm, spark the fire.
Well, hello, and a good morning to you, and you. Welcome in to another edition of Braylon's Virtual Tour Live. Glad to have all of you here in the building with me. Y'all did see the news of the Brit Eady lawsuit. We're going to review it this morning. Child, not to mention we got the Milagro Graham, Megan Thee Stallion trial. Hey, Colton, good to see you, my good friend. Yes, indeed. So we got that coverage a little bit later on tonight. Then, of course, we got Potomac as well. So 3 shows in one day. But with that being said, higher is weighing, low is available. But either way, we got to go on tour. Yes, indeed, we do. Let me take down this iconic intro here. You see that virtual tour background? Yes, you do. You hear that virtual tour music? Yes, you do. And one thing to know and 2 things for sure, that over here on this channel, a lot happens early. Rolling.
It's a new morning for America's family. Sun's coming up, so make it all that it can be. You know a lot happens early.
I'm Harry Smith.
I'm Julie Chen. I'm Maggie Rodriguez.
Morning everywhere. Come on, get up.
I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Dave Price.
And it's a little early for this.
Right now, this it's a new morning for America's family. Sun's coming up, so make it all that it can be. You know a lot happens early. Every day's good when you started it out right. But whatever you in the daylight, and a lot happens early. Can you feel it? And I say,
Good morning, everybody.
Are you girls ready for the Jonas Brothers?
We have an early show exclusive. Yes.
A lot happens early.
A lot happens
Early.
The Early Show, weekday mornings on CBS.
It's a new morning.
Yes, it is a new morning. Julie Chen, Moonves, and the Russ Mitchell, Dave Price, Harry Smith, and Maggie Rodriguez. You are absolutely around this channel right here. A lot happens early. Good morning, everybody. I hope all is well with each and every single one of you. Let's get to the getting and doing what we do, because there is a lot to discuss this morning with this Brit Eady Bravo lawsuit. So give me one momento, please, if you will. All right, so here it is here. We have the documents. Shout out to Bloomberg Law here. So here we go. So the introduction, this case concerns the defendant's grotesque sexual harassment, or SA, of plaintiff Brittany Eady, or Brit Eady, a castmate on season 16 Real Housewives of Atlanta in June of 2024. Eady was the victim of the castmate's brazen attempt of so-called revenge P. Specifically, the castmate published to a group of hundreds of live onlookers, including defendants' cameras, a photograph of a woman engaged in a graphic sex act. Though the arts that the woman was Eady, defendants immediately knew the castmate's behavior was atrocious and wrong, and that Eady had no reason to expect anything like that. Other castmates that were present were horrified and left the event immediately, and an unsurprised reaction given that nothing similar had ever occurred on Real Housewives before. Defendants even made the unprecedented decision to suspend the offending castmate mid-season because of it. Yet, despite initially recognizing the depravity of the castmate's SA of Eady, and in the face of Eady's repeated protestations, defendants ultimately made the disgusting decision to leverage it at Eady's great expense. They pressured Eady to discuss the incident and her sexual history on camera and in front of her own mother, no less. And when Eady pushed back and invoked her legal rights, they retaliated against her rather than protect Eady from the harmful effects of her co-worker's sexual harassment, or SA. Defendants chose to amplify the event and repeatedly re-traumatize Eady with it. Over months, defendants traded on the graphically sexualized nature of the events, coerced Eady into dramatic workplace discussions of her life's most intimate sexual moments. This was not Real Housewives as usual. This was SA, or SR rather, and it was retaliation. And Eady brings this case to defendants to account for their horrific behavior. And let's all agree, right? Because remember when Kenya Moore came out with that 1 minute clip that everybody was pissed off about? And then she finally came out with the video. And, you know, for Team Twirl that believes Revenge P is okay in their life, to, you know, get to, you know, do that to somebody, or for Revenge P to be okay for it to happen to them. You know, for the rest of us that have a conscience, we saw it wasn't right. And yeah, Kenya Moore did not deserve to have her job anymore. And I saw that the Bravo chairwoman said that Kenya Moore can come back. I don't think she could come back personally. That's just me. I really give two damn sucks or ish what Kenya Moore whatever have to say to me. Well, you don't have the right to say what I should or should not be doing. Well, you did something that you didn't have the right to do, but yet you did anyway. You got your own ass file, so you can't tell me shit. Moving on. Moving on here. The graphic graphic photo at issue appeared to depict a woman performing fellatio on an unidentified man, was presented to a group of about 200 live onlookers by a fellow castmate on the show, Kenya Moore. Moore represented the artist, and the artist believed that the woman in the photograph was Eady, but it was not a fact Eady did not come to learn until nearly a year later. Moore and Eady were at the time embroiled in an interpersonal dispute. The presentation of the photograph was a classic attempt of Revenge P, otherwise known as non-consensual intimate image sharing. Revenge P has, as of late, garnered significant attention nationwide due to the proliferation, leading to laws around the country punishing its use under federal, New York, and Georgia law. In attendance at the event were nearly a dozen of the defendants' camera people who have been filming for content to air on the show, and that had captured Moore's presentation of the graphic photo. Defendants knew immediately that Moore's representation of that photo was beyond the pale, hugely improper, and well beyond the show's standards, expectations, and stated sexual harassment policies. So here's the thing, right? Remember how Kenya Moore went to her hair spa, right? And I say hair spa because allegedly it's closed. Shout out to Michelle A.T. Elliott. And she uses that as her content studio, right? And y'all remember when she was like, I'm only going to say something if it gets to 100,000 viewers, and she said nothing and wasted everybody's time? But she also went on the Townhall show and said that I was wrong for what I did, but my child was in danger, which everybody got onto her ass, rightfully so, for utilizing Brooklyn as a pawn to avoid responsibility. So you didn't do Revenge P, but yet you went on one of the biggest talk shows on national television to say that you are sorry for what you did to Brit Eady and the cast and the crew and Bravo and the fans and everybody else. I'm just asking a question. Hey, to the 4 people in the building, welcome in. Glad to have you here. Indeed, just a week after the event, i.e. a year before they made any decision whether to air the events on the show, defendants conducted an internal investigation into Moore's conduct, which led them to suspend Moore from the show. Further, Eady repeatedly informed defendants of her view that Moore's conduct was harassing and unlawful, and that she intended to seek legal relief. Despite defendants' immediate appreciation that the presentation of the graphic photo was improper and beyond the bounds of the show standards or any workplace, however, defendants made a decision at the heart of this lawsuit. They decided to leverage Moore's attempt at Revenge P at Eady's great expense. Specifically over Eady's persistent objection They pressed Eady to discuss the incident and her sexual history with the show's producers and front of show cameras. They sought to gaslight Eady into thinking that it was in her interest to discuss these highly personal sexual issues. They told her it could just be like the Kardashian X tape, meaning Eady should use his hypersexualized exposure to obtain further publicity of herself. And this is the thing, right? That was Brit Eady's decision to do that. That tape was a completely different circumstance with a person who is just as delusional as Kim, not as Kim Kardashian child, but just as delusional as Nicki Minaj. So, and not to mention too, that tape of Kim K, even though she did it, it was a long time ago, and she has moved on from that sense, right? So I don't think you can really compare the two, but I get what they're trying to say, that tape, followed Kim K for the rest of her life, just like this Brit Eady graphic video has followed her, right? And y'all also remember too how, there was an investigation to Brit Eady, and it was determined by the policy that she did nothing wrong. Actually, hang on, let me bring that up. Give me a moment. Because everybody was saying about, Brit Eady having a pow on her and all that stuff. Give me a moment. So I just want to bring up this clip for the people. Right here. Here we go. Like, y'all, cut the bullshit. Cut the bullshit. But the biggest thing I want y'all to know is this. Andy, say it again for me.
On set, it was determined that you didn't violate that policy. So,
say it again.
In an investigation, obviously, weapons are not allowed on set. It was determined that you didn't violate that policy. So,
say it again.
Weapons are not allowed on set. It was determined that you didn't violate that policy.
Like I said, all I do is utilize public information. That's all I do. And I remember everybody was like, well, damn what Andy said. Well, Andy said it. So what are y'all going to do? You think you have power? A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. They said in substance that she should get it all out. And take control of the narrative, because the bear we get this out, the bear the fans will understand and have empathy for you. When Eady pushed back and said she wanted no part of this, defendants effectively said if she did not discuss the system on camera, she would face less and potentially no camera time and may lose out on pay. Which, in the world of reality TV, you have the right to refuse storylines. Now, if it's public, then it is what it is. But when you're dealing with this sensitive of an issue, you do have the first right refusal to talk about what you want to talk about, you have the right to talk about what you want to talk about, and you have the right not to talk about what you don't want to talk about. If y'all remember Winter from formerly of Love and Marriage DC, when I was on Tea Talk with Your Girls panel, and I was up there, Tea Talk with Your Girl was up there, Winter, I think one other person or a couple other people. I asked Winter a very specific question. I said, hey, Winter, did they have a pre-season meeting or a pre-production meeting for the season where they sit down, they talk to the cast about, like, okay, season 1 was this, okay, season 2, we're thinking that you guys can do more of this and more of that, and then they sit down with each person, and Winter said that they did not do that. Which I would think for the so-called king of reality TV that you would actually have a process to your shows, and you wouldn't just throw spaghetti to the wall and see what would stick, in the words of Marshall Scott. But hey, listen, you're the smart one. You're the big boss. You're the one that's in Hollywood. But yet Carlos King has never went to the Grammys, the Oscars, the Tonys, the Emmys. Never seen him at the Super Bowl. Beyonce was just at the Formula One race. in Las Vegas. So I'm just asking. You know, you famous, but nobody knows you. Okay. And plus, nobody brings him up in interviews either. Have y'all noticed that? Because usually people in the industry, if they get a question about somebody, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Braylon, I know him. You know, he got out the mud, and I am so proud of him with Braylon's virtual tour and television network. ABC is paying that man well. Like there would be compliments galore. You know what I mean? But nobody gives him a compliment or even drags him. You know what I mean? So, but that's neither here nor there. But a very important point nonetheless. So, at first, Eady relented to this enormous pressure and ultimately discussed her most intimate, personal, and sexual moments with defendants, producers, and in front of their cameras. Defendants thereafter chose to air many of these discussions to the world again, despite the recognition that Moore's conduct was beyond their show's standards, expectations, and policies. All the while, defendants continually rejected Eady's efforts to investigate the incident herself, even refusing to allow her to see the photograph that Moore presented, which would have revealed to Eady that the photograph was not even her and or it was a deep fake. Wait a minute, not Milagro Graham's auntie doing deep fake AI. Milagro Grams, what the fuck you got to do with this shit? Now see, your ass is already in trouble with Megan Thee Stallion. Now you teamed up with Kenya Moore to do that to Brit Eady. I'm being facetious when I say that, ladies and gentlemen. But, you know, there is a law in Florida that you can't do any deep fake video and or I believe photo as well. So if that law applies in Georgia, Kenya Moore, you got to hit the dough. Yes, indeed. So then defendants twisted the knife at another grotesque display of SH and retaliation. They told Eady they were planning to invite Moore back to the show for the following season, and that if Eady wanted to be on the show next season, it would mean she would have to do so alongside Moore, her harasser. Now, if I recall, wasn't there a situation with Miss Phaedra Parks and Candy Burris where there was a lie told about rugging Portia in the basement, was suspended and could not come back to RHOA for years and seasons? So why in the world would Brit Eady have to sit there with Kenya? I'm just asking a question, brother. Just asking a question. Oh, my Lord. My Lord. Enough was enough. Shortly thereafter, Eady announced that she would not be returned to the show. No one would dispute that the Real Housewives franchise trades on drama and often highly interpersonal drama, but it has never traded on this type of graphic sexual drama before, for obvious reasons. It's disgusting, beyond the pale, and illegal. No one signing up to appear on the Real Housewives would expect it, and Eady certainly did not. Defendants have no immunity from SH and anti-retaliation prohibitions, and their conduct unquestionably fits within them. Eady brings this action to those laws and the law prohibiting intentional infliction of emotional distress, breach of contract, and negligence to hold defendants accountable for their unlawful and unjustifiable actions. So that is basically the introduction to this lawsuit. Welcome in, everybody. If you're wondering what's going on, Brit Eady and the Bravo lawsuit has dropped. We are reading the documents live, ladies and gentlemen, this morning for you. So glad to have all of you here in the building. 19 minutes after 11 o'clock. Glad to have all of you here in the building. So right here, this court has subject matter jurisdiction over this pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1332 because the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000 is between citizens of different states. So this court has jurisdiction over each of the defendants because each has their principal place of business in New York and or does business on a continuous and systematic basis in New York. So for those of you who don't know, NBC Universal, 30 Rockefeller Center is in New York. And on top of that, for those of you who don't know this, the cable networks under NBC Universal has been spun off into their own company called Versant. I covered that here on Braylon's Virtual Tour Live I was ahead of NBC News and the Today Show. You can go back on the community wall and look for those receipts. I did drop them. But they kept Bravo, right? So all the networks basically were in New York, somewhere out in California as well, because that's Universal Studios Hollywood. And they have their creative offices in LA and their business offices in New York. So that's why. This court also has jurisdiction over defendants because they each transact business in New York and commit a tort in New York. Each claims arise from such transacting of business in New York and a commission of a tort in New York. So, venue is proper in this court because each defendant resides in this district because each is subject to commercial jurisdiction here. C 28 USC 1391 B1 B3 C2, and because a substantial part of the events or omissions give rise to Eady's claims occurred in this district. C 28 USC 1391 B3. This action arises out of a SH dispute, and Eady elects to invalidate any potential applicable dispute arbitration agreement. So, of course, the parties, in case you don't know, Brittany Eady, also known as Brit Eady, was a cast member on season 16 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Is a woman and is in the domiciliary is a domiciliary of the state of Georgia. So for the purposes of determining diversity, Eady is a citizen of Georgia. And I want all the MAGA supporters, you see that word diversity in the suit, right? So even the court of law uses diversity, equity, inclusion in court documents. But y'all let that dumb fuck though. Just wanted to say that, okay? All right. Defendant Truly Original LLC Limited Liability Company. Truly is a media production company with its principal place of business in New York, known for the production of unscripted reality television series, and also to Embassy Row, which Michael Davies is. If you don't know who Michael Davies is, he produced just a little tiny show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis Philbin that was on ABC and saved the whole damn network. It's always being sarcastic there. And I bring up Embassy Row because they also produce Watch What Happens Live for Randy Cohen. On information and belief, defendant's truly sole member is Endemol USA Holding Incorporated. It used to be Endemol, but then they became Endemol Shine North America, which is incorporated under the laws of Delaware and has a principal place of business in California. Thus, for purposes of determining diversity, defendant truly is a citizen of Delaware, California. Now, if you're wondering why Delaware, there's a lot of national and international businesses that have a business license in Delaware for the principles of what Delaware does with business. And then, of course, they have the headquarters where they are. So just to give you context, conjecture, and connection there. Defendant Bravo Media LLC. Bravo is a cable television company with its principal place of business in New York. On information and belief, defendant Bravo sole member is Bravo Holding LLC, whose sole member is NBC Rainbow Holding LLC, and there are three members of that holding: NBC Station Management 2 LLC, whose sole member is NBC Station Management LLC, NBC Station Management LLC, whose sole member is NBC Universal Media LLC, which is discussed in Infra, is a citizen of California, Delaware, and Pennsylvania for the purposes of diversity. NBC Cable Entertainment Holding LLC, the sole member is NBC Universal LLC, which, as discussed, Infra is a citizen of California, Delaware, and Pennsylvania for purposes of diversity. Thus, for the purposes of determining diversity, defendant Bravo is a citizen of California, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. On behalf of, on information and belief, NBC Universal Media LLC sole member is NBC Universal LLC, which has 7 members. So Comcast Navy Acquisition LLC. Then you have Comcast Navy Contribution LLC. Then you have NBC Universal Enterprise Incorporated, which is incorporated in Delaware, has a principal place in Pennsylvania. Then you have Comcast DW Holding, which is incorporated in Delaware, has a principal place in Pennsylvania. Comcast CCW Holdings LLC. Then you have Comcast Snap Holdings LLC, and then you have SNL Entertainment Holding Holdings Incorporated, which is incorporated in Delaware, has a principal place in Pennsylvania. So there is that there. And then, of course, there's also this here as well. You also have the members of Comcast CCW Holdings LLC and Comcast Snap Holdings LLC are Comcast Navy Acquisition LLC and Comcast Snap Holdings Incorporated, which is incorporated in Delaware, has a principal place of business in Pennsylvania. The sole member of Comcast Navy Acquisition LLC is Comcast Corporation, in which is incorporated in Pennsylvania, has a principal place of business in California. And so you have 7 members: Comcast Sportsnet New England Holdings LLC, Comcast Sportsnet Philadelphia Holdings LLC, Versus Holdings LLC, Comcast CHC LLC, Comcast Contribution Holdings LLC, E Holdings Incorporated. Now, if you're wondering what E Holdings is, that is the E Entertainment Network. Okay, so just to let you know that. Now, the television network has been spun off into Versant, but it seems like the E Holdings is still under NBC Universal from what I'm reading here, which is incorporated in Delaware, has a principal place of business in Pennsylvania. On information and belief, members of Comcast Sportsnet New England Holdings LLC is Comcast Sportsnet NE Holdings Incorporated, which is incorporated in Delaware, has a principal place in Pennsylvania. CSNN Partner LLC, whose sole member is Comcast Holdings Corporation, which is incorporated in Pennsylvania, has a principal place of business in Pennsylvania. And the members of Comcast Sportsnet Philadelphia Holdings LLC are Comcast Holdings Corporation, Comcast Spectator Holding Company LLC, whose sole member is Comcast Holdings Corporation. The members of Versus Holdings LLC are Comcast Holdings Corporation, E Holdings LLC. The sole member of Comcast CHC LLC is Comcast Holdings Corporation. The sole member of Comcast Contribution Holdings LLC is the Comcast Corporation. Thus, for the purposes of determining diversity, defendant NBC Universal Media LLC is a citizen of California, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. Now, for some of you, you're probably wondering, Brian, why did you read all that? Because you need to know how deep this, you need to know how deep the well is and how all the connections are linked together, right? So just want to give you that, because a lot of times in these lawsuits, the meat and potatoes are important, but also too the gravy and how you make the potatoes and everything else, how you make the steak is also just as important as the steak and potatoes. So just want to give you guys that there. So here I think everybody knows the statement of facts at this point. The Real Housewives franchise is a franchise of reality television programs that features cast prominent women in various cities. The programs follow the social lives, personal dealings, and relationships of the cast members, often focus on interpersonal drama between cast members. While arguments between cast members are common, the tenor of the franchise is generally lighthearted, depicts the lives of women who lead glamorous lives. As a general matter, the show's context is not sexualized or pornographic in nature, despite the show's use of the term housewives to describe its cast members. The women featured on the show often have prominent careers that they feature heavily on the show. On that information and belief, the Real Housewives franchise premiered in or around March of 2006. And the Real Housewives of Atlanta is a series within the franchise, The Real Housewives, and follows the cast of women based in Atlanta, Georgia. So, the show premiered in or around 2008. Defendants Truly and Bravo retained casting agencies to find audition participants to appear on ROA. And ROA was produced by Defendant Truly Original, airs on Defendant Bravo Television Network. Defendants Truly and Bravo exert a high degree of control over the actions of producers on its programs, including regardless of whether the producers are employees, agents, or contractors of defendants. So that is an at-will employee. So you probably have seen, what is it, the 1099 contractors, where, it's just a temporary job. And a lot of reality TV is temporary jobs. So, for example, Ken Fuchs, he's the director of Family Feud, but he's also the director of The Bachelor. So a lot of people in Hollywood, their careers usually have to take a minute before their careers are established. That's why you may see, a producer on another show like, whoa, how did Nirvana Blue go from this show, Ready to Love, to Hard Hustle Houston. That's how it usually happens in the industry. So, yes, indeed. Shout out to the 3 people here. Thank you so much for being here. Glad to have you here. Here we go. Defendants actively pursued Eady to become a Roa cast member. Prior to her appearance on Roa, Eady was a prominent and successful businesswoman in Atlanta. She previously modeled and appeared in music videos, so video vixen, and at all relevant times ran insurance business for high-end luxury clients and coached others in the insurance industry. In 2021, a friend of Eady's who appeared on a different Housewives franchise referred to her as casting director. Eady had rarely, if ever, watched Roa, but was familiar with the premise and had heard of many other cast members. Eady had multiple calls with Roa's casting director representatives from Roa's casting agency, but was initially told that the agency would not move forward with the casting process because Eady was too young. Okay, so what was the age, though? What, you gotta be, 21 and up? Okay. Eady had multiple, already read that. 2 years later, however, in August of 2023, a different casting agent contacted Eady by text about the potential of auditioning her for Roa. The casting agent's outreach to Eady was unsolicited at the time. Eady decided she did not want to appear on Roa in August of 2023. Eady replied to the casting agent saying that it was not a good time for her to appear on the show because she was just starting a business and was wary for the potential bad press and reputational damage. So here's the thing. People could probably say, well, if you already felt this way, why go on the show? People have the right to change their minds. But you can also say that, well, if you already had feelings about this, then why in the world did you go on, right? So 2 things can be true. In November 2023, the same casting agent reached out to Eady asked if Eady was interested in interviewing Roa. At this time, Eady agreed to participate in the casting process. The casting agent connected Eady to Donna Von Markowitz, the casting director for Roa. On information and belief, Von Markowitz was at all relevant times an employee or agent of Virgin Content, a casting and development agency that specializes in unscripted content, including reality television. Okay, well, let's look up Divergent Content. Because it's important to know, when we're speaking about different entities, it's important to know the entity, right? So, all right, so here is Divergent Content. And so here it is here. So they got Bravo, Netflix, HBO, MTV. And here's the team. So here is Donna Von Markowitz. Okay, okay. All right, we got a black team here. We got some white people here, but mostly a black team. Wow. Okay, I did not know this company existed. Had no idea. Wow. Good for y'all. Good for y'all for a black-owned business. So this is the team, and we're not doxing anybody. Okay, we're just going over this entity because it's in the lawsuit. So now they're casting. Are you a fantasy hair expert? Virgin Content is searching for fancy hair gurus, industry and celebrity hairstylists, and talented hair creators to show off your skills, and creative genius in the ultimate hair bow extravaganza. We featured on a major streaming platform. If you think you have what it takes, we want to hear from you. See link below to apply directly, DM or email questions, or to nominate a stylist. And then here is Donna Von Markowitz on Deadline.com there, on Variety as well. And then, of course, Staff Me Up, which is a huge website there for, if you want to get into the industry as well. So just wanted to showcase you guys that. Let's see the credits. So $1 Million Listing Los Angeles, Love is Blind, The Skin Decision, Before and After, The Circle, Ready to Love. Okay, they've been in Ready to Love, Married to Medicine, The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Next in Fashion, Married at First Sight, The Singles Project, Rhythm and Flow, Love Island, Intervention, The Oprah Winfrey Show. I'm trying to think, how were they part of the Oprah Winfrey Show? Because you went to Oprah.com and submitted your story. But okay. Southern Charm, House Hunters, Watch My Feet Are Killing Me, Chopped, Family Food Showdown, Seatbelt Psychic, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, Warren Lakes Paternity Court, Divorce Court, Marriage Boot Camp. Marriage Boot Camp needs to come back on WeTV, damn it. And also, too, can y'all make Singles Boot Camp? Now listen, I may go on that show. You know what I mean? You get 10 men, get 10 women, put them in a house and make it do what it do. I think Single Boot Camp will, on WeTV could be huge, right? Online dating rituals of the American male, Dr. Phil, Scientology with Leah Remini, Labor of Love, Argument One on MTV, Hell's Kitchen, Caroline and Friends, The Game, Masterclass, The Experiment, Project Runway, Pop Sugar, The Essay to My Face, Style by Jury, Fashion Star, F&F Fabulous, Marching Orders, Hotel Showdown, Fortune of Fire, Canast, MTV True Life, Fleas, Incorporate, Irish of America, The Apprentice, Only and Hungry, Netflix, Bravo, HGTV, Lifetime, MTV, Tastemade, BET, Cooking Channel, ESPN, Bravo, Oxygen, Food Network, The Travel Channel, A&E, NBC, America's Got Talent, Flirty Dancing, The Grand Hustle, BET, The Crystal Maze, Family or Fiance, The Wall, Mystery Diners on Food Network, Discovery Plus, Revenge by with Khloe Kardashian on Discovery Network, Celebrity Hip Hop, Judge Mathis, Man vs. Food, Man Fire Food, American Idol, The Great Food Truck Race, Guys Grocery Game, Kids Baking Championship, Spring Baking Championship, Temptation Island, which was on USA Network. Now it's on Netflix. Can't wait for that new season to come out, and we will review it. Last Comic Standing, Match Game, Mystery Johnson, Black Girl, American Music Awards, Golden Globe Awards, ESPYs, the movies that made us, Netflix, Join or Die with Craig Ferguson, Big Brother, Comic View, BET's Comic View, Survivor, 90 Day Fiance, What Now, Mom, Why I Stole D was Blind Date, Common Out, Let's Make a Deal. That's everything that they've done. Damn. They've been around. They have been around. So, and then, of course, right here, they've had some casting calls here. They've had Martha's Vineyard, Grambling State University, Fabulous Black Women to star in major network docuseries. Done a lot for their family and friends. They look for Black women. Are you ready to have a child but you don't have a partner? Are you a Black woman for Great Dane story? Search for Black people in Asia. Looking nationwide for girlfriends. They got major docuseries for fierce, fabulous and outspoken women in Miami. Nationwide for diverse groups of men and women. Real estate agents. Are you engaged? All that. Major Black-owned businesses. Searching for love. Documenting your stories of love and loss. And then, are you unmarried and living with your partner? So I'm sorry, that's on my mind. Damn, look. Okay, I got it. It's aggravating the hell out of me. But anyway, that is them there. So they've been around. All right, back to this. On information and belief, one or both defendants retained divergent content to cast participants for season 16 of ROA and authorized divergent content to act as its agent and make representations to potential participants about the show, including the associated talent contracts. In November 2023, Eady participated in a Zoom interview with Michaela Martinez and Garrett Copeland, who on information and belief were at all times relevant employees or agents of at least one of the defendants and were casting producers for ROA. At that interview, Eady was asked about her knowledge of the housewives, social circles, TV experience, job, relationship status, and reasons for wanting to join the show, and thoughts on the cast and the show. During the November 2023 interview, Eady was asking the cast and producers about the possibility of fights and drama between cast members. Eady stated that she was nervous about appearing on the show because of the potential for fighting amongst the cast. Martinez and Copeland stay on the Zoom call, however, that the upcoming season will be a reboot for new vibe and more lighthearted, fun, and flirty, glamorous than previous seasons, and that the show will move away from high drama content. Okay. After Eady's initial interview, Eady was selected to move forward in the casting process. In January 2024, Eady participated in an additional interview over Zoom with executive producers Lorraine Halton Lawson, Lauren Exklin, Glenda Cox, and Kimar Basgal. On information and belief at all relevant times. Harton Lawson was employed by defendant Truly as a special vice president of programming. Special vice president of programming. But Truly Original is a production company. So what would make her a special vice president of programming? Either you're vice president of programming or you're not. That's like a participatory trophy. You know what I mean? I don't understand that. That's not correlating in my brain. On information and belief at all relevant times, Elkin was employed by defendant Truly as an executive vice president of programming. On information and belief at all relevant times, Cox was employed by defendant Truly. On information and belief at all relevant times, Broscar was employed by defendant Bravo during the January 2024 interview. The above named producers asked Eady about her background, family dynamics, relationship history, and how she would interact with other housewives. During the January 2024 interview, the above-named producers also again represented to Eady that the upcoming season will be lighthearted and fun, and that it will be the biggest shakeup Roa has seen in its 15 years, and that was a reboot for the show. After the January 2024 interview, Eady participated in at least two additional interviews rather with producer Roa. So, to give you guys some context, conjecture, and connection, back in the day on American Idol, what would happen is it would be the open auditions, right? So, when you see that stadium shot of this is American Idol, and then they'll do the big crane shot, woo, and all that stuff. That would be open auditions, right? So you would, get a number, wait your turn. You would go down on the stadium floor. You would, or before the war cry was the war cry, you would go, and depending on how good you sung and stuff, then you moved on to, the second round of auditions. And that would be, with producers of American Idol, right? So the scout sees if you got talent, the producers, they dig into your story more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And then finally you get to the executive producers, and then there's usually a network representative and maybe social media producers. And then finally you get picked for the judges audition. So you have to go through a process or get to the judges audition. So when you watch the auditions for American Idol, you see the judges auditions, those people were picked. Now, back in the day, they were picked from that process, but now it is a virtual casting call for American Idol. So you do have to go through many interviews before you finally get on TV. So that's why it's important to pay attention. And like I always say, if you understand what's happening around you, understand what you're seeing in front of you. So that's why I try to give you guys that media commentary in a relatable fashion so you can understand what we're talking about. So just a little tip. On information and belief, each producer that Eady met with was employed by one or both defendants. After the third interview, he was asked to participate in a chemistry test filming in February 2024. For the chemistry test filming, executives from defendants Truly and Bravo were to fly from New York to Atlanta to meet Eady in person and spend a day filming her husband. Prior to the chemistry test, Eady was provided by defendant Truly an agreement that would govern the terms of the chemistry test filming. The chemistry test contained within the chemistry test agreement was a broad release of any and all possible and past future legal claims of any kind in any way related to Eady's involvement in the chemistry test. For example, the release contained within the chemistry test agreement did not carve out any intentional reports or violations of the workplace protection, and non-discrimination laws from the release of the claims. Further, the chemistry test agreement did not contain any provision restraining defendant Truly from filming Eady while she was nude or engaged in sexual activity. Based on the breadth of the releases of the chemistry test agreement, Eady was concerned that she would be signing away any protection she had against being intentionally harmed in the filming of the chemistry test and having her privacy violated beyond any reasonable expectation while filming. So when it comes to a chemistry test, you guys have probably heard a chemistry test for, movies, right? For example, with Wicked or Waiting to Exhale, you audition with, the agent that's looking for people, then you go to, it's the same process, right? But then there's the chemistry test where you have the script and you have other cast members and you read the script and, they see if you have chemistry or not. The chemistry test works kind of the same way. One of the biggest examples I can give is The View. So if you are able to get to have the chance to be on The View as a co-host, they will chemistry test you. Now, that chemistry test will never air, but they record it, right? And then, of course, ABC executives, they watch it. And then, of course, you have to have input from the co-host because they have to want to sit there with you 5 days a week and everything in between. So chemistry tests have been a long standing tradition in Hollywood. But I will say for chemistry tests in the world of reality TV, they should have provisions of respecting people's privacy and nudity, right? So just keeping it up there. And I'm sure that Bravo, hopefully, if they were smart, revised the chemistry test agreement. On February 21st, 2024, Von Manowitz texted Eady to check in. Eady responded by text, hey, still talking about husband, not looking good right now because of release. Von Manowitz responded, Brit, don't make the appearance release that you're hill to die on. Eady responded, have you seen a copy of the release? Von Manowitz responded, I have. It's pretty standard and everyone has signed it to appear on camera. Von Manowitz also stated, keep in mind the appearance release is not the actual contract for being on the show. That's a very true distinction. So let's just say that, I was trying to think. Let's just say I was going on the show On Brand with Jimmy Fallon, right? And I, went through the casting process, all that stuff. If they wanted to do a chemistry test to see if I could handle some of the challenges, then I would sign a, chemistry test agreement to see that. Now, that does not mean that I'm on the show. That just means I'm one step closer to being on the show. The next day, Von Manowitz reached out again by text and wrote, you need to know where you stand by noon tomorrow, so keep me posted. He responded, relevant part, I'm not comfortable signing that release due to giving up all my rights. So I understand if it forfeits my opportunity with Roa. If anything changes with the new release, let me know. If not, totally understand. I just know in my heart, I just know in my heart, I know better than signing the contract. Von Manowitz requested to speak to Eady on the phone, which Eady agreed. During that sequential telephone conversation, Von Manowitz repeatedly pressured Eady not to back out of the audition process with Roa. Von Manowitz told Eady that she could not change her mind if she backed out. Repeatedly emphasized that appearing on the show would lead to amazing opportunities. Listed cast members would become famous and successful after appearing on the show, and told Eady that she would be a fan favorite. Here's the thing, right? This is a true and untrue statement. I'm going to say that again on the big screen. This is a true and untrue statement. I'm going to tell you why. The success of you being on Roa is not determined by you just appearing on the show. It is determined by the work you put in season after season after season after season. And then after that, you may or may not be successful. Because there's some people that were on the show for one season and we didn't hear from them again. For example, Kim Fields. But here's the guy. Kim Fields is an acting legend. She didn't need the show. Kenya Moore needed the show, right? So there you go. So I got why Ms. Leibowitz, promised, fame and stuff, but also too, you can't promise that based on somebody who has not done the work yet to get that. Just keeping it above. Okay. I had to come on the big screen for that one. She told E, don't let this be the hill that you die while referring to the broad release agreement they were asking her to sign due to Von Manowitz's pressure and reassurances and the fact that the chemistry test agreement was not the final agreement that will govern Eady's full participation on the show. Eady decided to continue with the audition process, signed the agreement, and filmed the chemistry test with her husband and mother in or around March of 2024. Eady was officially offered a role on Roa. After Eady was offered a role on Roa, she was sent a draft talent agreement between herself and defendant Truly for her appearance on Roa. Eady and her attorney reviewed the talent agreement carefully. With Eady informing a role producer, my attorney and myself are already reviewed and gone through everything. Oops, sorry. By its terms, the talent agreement superseded the chemistry test agreement. The talent agreement defined the studio to mean defendant Truly and network, meaning one or more television networks or platforms, Peacock streaming platform of NBC Universal Media LLC or its related or affiliate entities, which include Defendant Bravo. The talent agreement further defined artists to refer Eady. The talent agreement referred to Eady's employment under this agreement. Eady's period of employment, artist employment 34 times. Under the terms of the talent agreement, the studio defendant Truly and the network defendant Bravo were afforded the right to exercise significant control over the time, place, and manner of Eady's work as a cast member of ROA. Meanwhile, Eady was prohibited from the talent agreement from activities such as engaging in unscripted programming with any other studio, appearing as herself in scripted programming, or promoting any brand without the network's approval, and was required to hold her work for the studio for the first priority during the exclusivity period. So there was something that I think, who was it? Oh my God. I just gotta look her up. Bethany Frankel, that's who I meant to say. Bethany Frankel, she said, and I quote, that Bravo would take a cut of the profits if you promoted anything on Bravo. Now, I don't know if that's changed or not, but that's something that she said. And when it comes to, the first priority for exclusivity period, for example, let's just say, I had a contract with, right here, let's say Brantley's virtual tour had a contract with let's just say that, right? Brantley's virtual tour is finally coming to TV and streaming on Stars. Big, it's a very big deal. This, that, the third, yay, kumbaya, all that stuff, right? And I'm on Stars for a 3-season deal, right? And I'm getting paid $5 million a year. So $5, $10, $15 million. Not too bad. I'm on 5 nights a week, live from 6 to 8 p.m. on Stars. I, for the first 3 seasons, have to stay on Stars. And if I want to promote Brantley's virtual tour on it, hey, Bama girl, welcome in. Good to see you. I hope all is well. If I want to promote Brantley's virtual tour on any other platform, then I would have to get it approved. So let's just say I want to do Brantley's virtual tour New Year's Eve live special, right? And I wanted to go over to Fox because Fox doesn't have a New Year's Eve show, right? I would have to get approval from Stars in order to go over to Fox, right? If I wanted to appear on a scripted show, I would have to go over to Stars. If I wanted to do some unscripted programming with any other studio, which is not Brantley's virtual tour, but if I just wanted to say, hey, I want to pitch the show to ABC, I would have to go through Stars. So basically, I'm tied to Stars for the first 3 seasons. Now, for those of you who look like, well, damn, Bray, that's not really good if you want to, be about diversity, equity, inclusion for your career. You are correct. However, that's where you make your voice known. You determine your price and then add tax to it, as they say. So if I was going over to Stars, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm glad to be here for 3 seasons, right? But in the same token, I also want to do unscripted content for you guys. That's something that you guys do not have. And I want first look, privilege, which means Stars has the right to look at first. If they want it, then we discuss how to produce it. And if they like it, then it goes to air. If not, then I can pitch it to other networks. So you see the minutia here. This is why I am so focused in media. And I bet you most of y'all did not know all that intel. So just to give you a little context, conjecture, and connection. So that's what we do over here. Yes, indeed. Here we go. Notably, the talent agreements say that the studio should not film artists while artist is engaging in sexually explicit conduct or while artist is nude. It was particularly important to Eady that the talent agreement not allow defendants to film or air her nude without her consent, protected this provision that was not included in the earlier chemistry test agreement. And I'm sure now because of this, they also probably have added deep fake AI and photos as well, real and unreal. Excuse me. The talent agreement contained recent claims to the maximum extent permitted by law, but but only as to claims that were directly or indirectly caused by negligible acts arising out of or relating to the series. The release explicitly excludes claims for violation of New York State human rights / executive laws and other claims that may not be released by reason of applicable law. Thus, as accurately previewed by Von Manowitz, the release in the Town Agreement was far less encompassing than the release in the chemistry test agreement, which Ms. Eady had been highly concerned. The Talent Agreement also included specific provisions covering defendant Truly's commitment to anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, anti-retaliation policies. Artist employment here under shall be subject to studios and networks, other applicable policies and procedures, and may be amended from time to time, including without limitation, rules of conduct such as providing respectful workplace, including anti-harassment, anti-discrimination, prohibition of violence in the workplace, and relating to consumption of alcohol or drugs, collectively production policies. B, it stated that its publicity and confidentiality policy shall not prevent Eady from discussing or disclosing information about unlawful acts in the workplace, such as harassment or discrimination or any conduct that artist has reason to believe is unlawful. So basically, if anything happened to her, she had the right to talk about it. Now, for those of you who may not remember, there was Bethany Frankel who wanted to do the reality star, reunion rather, through SAG-AFTRA, and you guys remember the writer strike and the actor strike and all that stuff. And NBC Universal released everybody from their NDA. So now, if anything happens, now you're able to speak out on that. Where before, you weren't able to speak out. And not to mention, too, if you go on reality TV now, I don't know if this is still prevalent, but I know for Survivor, if you spoiled anything from the show, it was like a $50,000 fine. And I believe Coulter Underwood got sued by ABC and Warner Horizon or Scripted Television because he talked about his experience with The Bachelor. And The Bachelor, I believe, is like a 1 year, 2 year agreement that you can't say anything about your experience until those terms are expired. So there's a lot of legality in the world of entertainment. So it's indeed there. If ours has reason to believe that conduct violating any studio policy, including but not limited to respect in the workplace policy, has occurred or is occurring in the workplace, ours is encouraged to report such conduct to the studio's appropriate channels or through the channels provided by the network, so it cannot be addressed. Ours will not be retaliated against for or in connection with reporting such conduct. D, in connection with our services, ours may be in an environment where ours may hear, see, or counter speech or physical content or otherwise experience sensations that ours or others may consider offensive. Ours shall immediately notify studio for any reason ours feels harassed due to ours race, nationality, sex, age, disability, sexual orientation, or marital status, friend, or otherwise uncomfortable in connection with our services. And artist understands that the studio shall not authorize anyone else to penalize or retaliate against ours for doing so. So this is a very critical piece in this Talent Agreement. Basically, the fact that Brittany Eady got told, if you don't do this, that means less camera time and less pay, where in this contract it says differently. That's a very good foundation for a case, because it's basically saying, bravo, there's something sweet in the Kool-Aid with this. Okay, so, and like I said, this is my first time reading the documents live with all of you, so as you're hearing it, I'm responding to it rather. So, yes, indeed. Hope you guys are enjoying the show this morning. It's about to be afternoon here in about 1 minute. The Talent Agreement selected New York laws governing law, and the parties agreed to venue and jurisdiction in the Supreme Court of the state of New York in New York County and the United States District for the Southern District of New York. Eady signed a talent agreement on April 19th, 2024, on May 10th, 2024, 3 days before filming began. So 11, 12, 13. So May 13th is when they first started filming it. Jacob Howard, director, business and legal affairs at Defendant Truly Original, and Eady sent Eady each other castmate in an email titled Truly Original / anti-violence and anti-harassment policies. The body of the email read in part highlights, please review Truly respect Truly is respecting the workplace policy and town legal guidelines before filming resumes on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Attached to the email was a document referred to in the town agreement titled Truly Original LLC respecting the workplace policy. Truly RITW policy. The Truly RITW policy outlined a series of robust and specific commitments from defendant Truly to avoid sexual harassment or SH and retaliation, including the following. Truly is committed to provide a professional, respectful work environment where everyone is treated fairly and with dignity. In support of this commitment, the company prohibits discrimination, harassment, bullying, and retaliation in the workplace or work-related settings. This policy applies to company applicants and employees, co-workers, supervisors, and managers. As used in this policy, the term employee includes contractors and volunteers in the workplace. In addition, this policy applies to conduct at work and in work-related settings, whether on company premises or off-site, and whether during or outside regular work hours. This includes during work-related travel or production locations, during social events with colleagues, including vendors or other business partners or social media sites. So there was like a direct TV party where Wendy Orfizo was and other Bravo stars was. So that is a work-related event. I like Brit Eady too. I think that Brit Eady definitely could be a star for sure, even after all this, because a lot of people, saw her, understood her, embraced her. And I said this to reviews and recaps, that what I really liked about Brit Eady was there was such a humanity to her family life that I really, really liked about her. And she seemed to be, as they say, a girl's girl. You know what I mean? And also, too, I want to bring this up. When they mean social events, they also mean like the TV Critics Association press tour. That's more of a work-related event, but there's also social activity of networking, this, that, and the third. And also BravoCon, that is definitely a work-related event. So those different, spaces, can be accounted for in this. So, I knew what you meant. Andre Shan. You are good, my friend. You are good. And on social media sites as well. So, SH and retaliation on social media sites, that includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Clubhouse, and what have you. Harassment prohibited. That's B. Harassment is a type of discrimination and includes conduct that creates disrespectful, intimidating, hostile, degrading, or offensive work environment for another individual based on one or more protective characteristic. It's stated that harassment can be verbal and significantly visual, such as the posting or distribution of offensive posters, symbols, cartoons, drawings, computer displays, or emails. SH is generally categorized into two types: quid pro quo harassment and hostile work environment harassment. It is stated that quid pro quo harassment could be submission to sexual conduct is made explicitly or implicitly a term or condition of an individual's employment, or submission to or rejection of the conduct by an employee is used as the basis for employment decisions affecting the employee. The policy defined hostile work environment harassment as conduct that has the purpose or effect of unreasonably interfering with an employee's work performance or of creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment due to or based on gender. One example in this was displaying or distributing sexually suggestive derogatory objects, cartoons, derogatory objects, pictures, cartoons, or posters, or any such items. So let's zoom in here. Pictures and posters. There was a picture on a poster, and this was in the harassment policy for Truly Original, you see. Oh my Lord Jesus. And it's so amazing to me that all this happens after BravoCon. That's the crazy thing. All of this is happening after BravoCon. You know what I mean? So, oh Lord. I remember Andy Cohen said, well, we got to wait till not this coming year, but the year after that. It's just like, Andy, we might need BravoCon next year, good sir, because there's a lot going on in the Bravo universe. Yes, indeed. Here, Let's see. Where am I? Oh yeah, right. We were right here. Yep. Okay. Or any such so displaying or disturbing sexually suggestive or derogatory objects, pictures, cartoons, or posters, or any such items. Displaying or disturbing sexually suggestive or derogatory objects, pictures, cartoons, or posters, or any such items, and know that other types of conduct may constitute SH under this policy or applicable by law. F, retaliation prohibited. G, the company strictly prohibits retaliation against any individual who in good faith raises a concern internally or to an appropriate government agency or tribunal about or otherwise opposes discrimination, harassment, bullying, or retaliation or other behavior. This policy prohibits even if the concern proves to be unfounded or the investigation is inconclusive. So it says right here, even if the concern proves to be unfounded or the investigation is inconclusive, it is still harassment. Remember how they said it was inconclusive at first? So that still fell under this policy, is what they're saying. Here we go. Just days before filming, Cox told Eady that this season of Roa would be glamorous, emphasize fashion and having fun. A Sex in the City meets Selling Sunset vibe with less drama. Selling Sunset is about real estate. They don't do any real estate on the show. Now, I will say for that season, they did show the price tag a lot. And it's just like that's such a great way to get your audience hooked into you. Like, just showcase the price of what your audience can't afford. That's just, I mean, truly original and bravo. I mean, I clap it up for you. Actually, you know what? I can do better than actual hand claps. I got something for you. Give me a moment. I can do this for you. Truly original. NBC Universal, I can do this. So, and we're left last drama. So right here, Kenya Moore, a former RHOA castmate, in a classic attempt at revenge, P sexually harasses Eady by displaying a pornographic photograph purportedly depicted Eady during a film cast event. On May 13th, 2024, filming for season 16 in Roa began. During filming, Eady developed an interpersonal dispute with longtime former cast member Kenya Moore. She's a former cast member. On information and belief, Moore has signed a talent agreement with defendant truly that was nearly identical to Eady, except that her rate of pay was higher due to her tenure. On information and belief, in the spring of 2024, Moore began to develop a concept for a new hair spa that she wanted to open in Atlanta, Georgia. Moore then used the platform of Roa to promote the launch of the salon. You guys remember, or spa, right? You guys remember how, Kenya said that, Bravo really did give her any time of day last season to talk about the development of it. Well, here's the finished product. Specifically on June 6th, 2024, Moore, Eady, and producers from defendant companies and other employees of the defendants film material for episode Roa during the opening of Moore's spa here and after the salon event or spa event. On information and belief, Moore's spa qualified as a feature artist business under Section 6BIA of her talent agreement, which meant that if the business achieved a certain amount of revenue, Moore would be required to pay the network a portion of that revenue. You guys remember I told you Bethany Frankel said the same thing, so there is that there. On information and belief, the salon event occurred on a premises and was an event or activity for which Moore owned and controlled all such access rights, and therefore, under the terms of Moore's talent agreement, she irrevocably granted the network's access to, including without limitation, permission to film and otherwise make recordings in and of the spa event. But allegedly, Kenya Moore is supposed to be, given, back rent, and allegedly she might be kicked out of her hair spa. Michelle ATLA has been covering it. So allegedly, the hair spa is no more. Allegedly. So I just want to throw that into the timeline there. Okay. The salon event or the spa event was described to all cast members. Was described to the cast members as an all cast event, which meant every cast member was required to attend on information and belief, or also invite various members of the media to attend the spa event, including prominent gossip bloggers. Now it's interesting that when something doesn't work out in your favor, all those bloggers. But when something does work out in your favor, come. In the words of Atnap Mode and Gast. Shout out to The Incredibles. Can't wait to see The Incredibles 3. Although Brad Bird should be directing it. He should. Or at least be a creative consultant. But that's neither here nor there. On information and belief, defendants require more to submit a guest list in advance of the spa event and had the power to approve or deny any proposed guests on more list, meaning that defendants knew and approved the presence of these additional members of the media prior to the this is a spa, but I'm gonna say salon event just for reflecting the record here. Edie expressed to producers that she did not want to attend because of the interpersonal conflict that had developed between herself and Moore. Edie believed that her attendance at the salon event would cause an unwanted escalation of tension between herself and Moore. In response, Shane Murphy, a ROA producer who on information and belief was employed by defendant Trulia on Relevant Times, had an argument with Edie in Edie's home and told Edie in sum and substance that it was her job to attend the salon event was mandatory. She did not have a choice. And I will say this: when Brit Eady went to that event, she was so. Let me say this on the big screen because I need to say this. She was so damn sincere. She had a card, and she also brought flowers and just said, "I am really sorry." And Kenya Moore, who busted into Marlo Hampton's event with Kenya Moore Hair Care and has never owned up to anything that she's ever done. I'm like, really? So you could do that to Marlo Hampton, but Brit Eady tries to do the right thing and you reject that when you talk about women empowerment and shit? Like I said, what if somebody did revenge pee on your daughter when she grows up? Not wishing that for Brooklyn, by the way. I'm just stating a fact. We have to go there so we can understand here. We have to go there so we can understand here. We have to go there so we can understand here. Okay? Hell. Well, the gag was you lost your own spot. Edie, in response, said she was not ready for the drama the salon event would until she felt like it was set up and was terrified that her attendance at the salon event would cause tensions to escalate further. Humphrey responded in some substance that it did not matter how Edie felt if it was not on camera. Prior to the salon event, Edie also spoke to a human resources representative from defendant Truly, who advised her in some substance that was possible for Moore to do something to embarrass Edie at the salon event, but Edie should go anyway and leave quickly. Despite the conflict between Edie and Moore, defendants required Edie to appear at the salon event and represent to Edie that she could be fired if she did not attend. Each cast member was required to wear a microphone provided by defendants during the filming of the salon event. Employees of defendants circulated at the salon event to ensure that microphones were functional and to replace batteries as needed. Also, 2 days before they go and they set up, the scene, they get the lighting and the rigging and the boom mic and the steady cams and the shoulder cams and everything else. So it's a whole production. Also present at the salon event were numerous other employees of defendants, including at least one director and multiple operators for approximately 10 cameras that recorded various angles and spaces in the event. In total, approximately 200 people attended the salon event live, including cast members of ROA, their family and friends. Other employees or representatives of defendants. Edie arrived at the salon event at the time scheduled by defendant Truly's production team and left shortly thereafter. Edie left the salon event and Moore began to give a speech to the event attendees. Rather than focus her speech on the salon that she was opening, however, Moore unusually focused her comments on Edie, making a variety of statements about Edie, including false and derogatory statements about her character, her professional character, personal sexual history. Moore displayed poster boards, which included shocking derogatory accusations about Edie, certain actual photographs of Eady, as alleged further below, and at least one explicit photograph that was purported to depict Eady, but which in reality did not. More sad, I did some research and found out who this bitch is, suggesting that the statements that would follow were facts that have been discovered by more and more, since she had private investigators research Eady and was showing what they found. More than display 4 poster boards concerning Eady. One of the poster boards contained the text, "Who is this hoe?" It contained several photographs depicting Eady. More pointed to each photograph on this poster board stated that Brit Eady is her name. It's the same girl. Moore referred to Brit Eady as a draft video hoe, implying Eady was currently or formerly engaged in prostitution. Eady has never engaged in prostitution, and Moore's statement to the contrary was false. As the crowd watched, Moore continued to make false statements regarding Eady's purported sexual history. Brittany does escort. She charged $1,400 per appointment, as stated above. These statements were false because Eady has never engaged in prostitution, or tuition rather. More egregiously, however, Moore then displayed a postboard that contained several photographs of Eady in revealing outfits, and in the instance that is at the center of this lawsuit, a graphic photograph of Moore purported to be Eady engaging in a sexual act with another person. Specifically, the photograph depicted a woman performing fellatio on a man. Although the woman's face in the photograph is clearly depicted as in the sex act that she's performing, the man's face is not depicted. Moore represented to the crowd that Eady was the woman depicted in the explicit photograph. In reality, however, the explicit photograph did not depict Eady, but instead depicted a differently unnamed woman performing fellatio on another person, and or was a deep fake. On information and belief, Moore knew or should have known that the photograph did not depict Eady. Moore's conduct violate defendant truly sexual harassment policies, which prohibits, for example, displaying or disturbing sexually suggestive or derogatory objects, pictures, cartoons, or posters of any such items. Moreover, the foregoing conduct of Moore constitute at the minimum an attempt to violate the revenge P laws in Georgia. See Georgia Code 161190, prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmissions, and New York NY Penal Code 245.15, unlawful dissemination or publication of intimate image. On information and belief, Moore's entire speech at the salon event, as well as images of all poster boards that Moore displayed, were captured on cameras that the defendants used to film the event. And I want to bring something up real quick. Because we talk about the facts over here. I want to see something. Let's see. Because there was one particular magazine cover that I just want to bring up. That's the one. Okay, thank you very much. Since she wanted to make it do what it do, here it is right here. I want y'all to see this.
That was the last show.
Now that's more with Smooth Magazine. Now she wanted to showcase Brit Eady in a bad light. Okay. Now this is not, shaming Kenya at all. Kenya's a grown ass woman. She can do what the fuck she want to do. But I just want to showcase to y'all something. Real quick. Because we're being transparent and all. Here's Kenya Moore right here. So she was a video vixen somewhat back in the day. And here's Kenya Moore right here. So how dare you bring up somebody else, right? But yet your shit can't be brought up. Let's keep watching the video. Roll it. Child, I can't. Like I said, I'm not shaming Kenya Moore. I'm just bringing up the fat pot to the kettle. That's all I'm doing. None more, none less. So here's the shot. So there's that shot there. But here's the shot right here. So she can do this. Yeah, she brought up Brit Eady. This is all I'm saying, y'all. Nothing shade in her or anything like that. I'm just bringing up that. So here's this here. So there it is. Just want to bring up that fact, you know? All right, let's get back to it. Yeah. Now, I know what y'all are going to say. Well, Bray, that was, lawful dissemination or publication of, intimate image. Yes, it was for a magazine cover, but it's just the principle of the thing. How dare you bring up somebody else and what they did in private when you showcase yourself publicly? And there's probably private photographs of you too. That could be revenge P as well. You see where the black dazzling, black proxy, and black imagination comes in here? Okay, rolling on. On information and belief, Moore's entire speech at the salon event, as well as all the images of the poster boards Moore displayed, were captured on the cameras that defendants used to film the event. On the information and belief, Moore did not exhibit any similar conduct to any male employee of defendants. Moore's actions were in furtherance of the business of the defendants because Moore acted to create spectacle and drama at an event that was filmed for use on ROA, and which is routinely encouraged and sought after by defendants. Moore's actions were within the scope of her employment with defendant Truly. After Moore displayed the poster board that contained the expensive photograph, and right here, a deep fake is an image or recording that has been wrongly conventionally altered and manipulated to misrepresent someone as doing or saying something that was not actually done or said. Similarly, earlier this year, the federal Take It Down Act was enacted into law, which makes the non-consensual replication of intimate images, including deep fakes, a federal crime. That's what Milagro Grams is on trial for right now. Multiple of the cast members and attendees of the salon event expressed strong disapproval of Moore's actions and left the event early out discussed. Cast member Shamia Moore and later said, "I cannot believe my eyes," but yet you being disrespectful to Portia and Kelly being your lapdog, where Kelly was trying to drag Brit Eady, but yet Trullo looking like the more sane one in the membrane because Kelly got her own lawsuits and shit that she got to handle. And she also doesn't know how to get along with human beings because she had a whole issue and incident with her next door neighbor. Not to mention, Kelly, you said if you want to talk about traitor, you're talking about Portia. Child, Portia is bigger than your existence. If you took away the restaurant, who are you? Nobody. Exactly. Moving on. Several cast members said that it was too far. Cast member Portia Williams later said, "I'm mortified and I would stand there. It seemed like I was agreeing with anything. I don't support this." And Portia Williams said, "You can get this microphone off me, actually." Cast member Shamia Moore said, but this is too much. Cast member Angela Oakley said, I emphasize with Brit only because I can't imagine the pain that may cause anyone who was exposed that way in reaction to the shocking events. Williams said she did not want to be on camera anymore and asked the fitness crew to remove her mic and act like she was never even at this event. Indeed, the salon event ended early immediately after Moore demonstrated the photo due to Moore's shocking behavior. The shock expressed disapproval. Immediate departure of other castmates, demonstrating that none of these castmates expected this type of behavior to occur during their employment with defendant Truly or their involvement with the shop. Now, personally, this is just me. If I were there and I saw this, I'm like, whoop, 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 whoop. This is revenge P, ladies and gentlemen. I would have shouted out. I would not have given a damn if Kenya Moore would have came after me. Because I've been like, imagine this would have happened to Brooklyn. I would have said all that on camera. Oh, we would have been enemies for life in the words of Cardi B. We would have had a beef forever. But she would not have won the beef because I would have done the right thing. But that's neither here nor there, but a very important point. I already read that. The shock expressed disapproval. Immediate departure of these other castmates demonstrate that none of those castmates expected this type of behavior to occur during their employment with defendant Truly or their involvement in the show. Cast member Kelly Farrell approached Eady in the parking lot of the salon to tell her what happened. She and Eady sat in the car, did not allow the cameras to follow them in the privacy of the car. Farrell stated Moore had shown photographs of Eady naked from a sex act, and that Moore say that Eady engaged in prostitution. Eady asked Farrell for more detail about the photograph. Farrell said that she had left as soon as the explicit photograph. Sean did not get the look. Farrell was mistaken that the explicit photograph depicted Eady. After this interaction, Eady and Farrell left in the van. The two-role producers approached Eady and apologized for Moore's conduct. Eady left the location before other cast members exited the salon. Based on representations of Farrell and producers, Eady believed that the explicit photograph depicted her. Eady currently does not have knowledge of how Moore obtained the photographs. She displayed the false information that she disseminated at the salon event. However, prior to the salon event, the defendant Truly possessed knowledge of false rumors concerning Eady's sexual history that had circulated on internet forums. So you possessed knowledge of false rumors, but yet you allowed this to air. Brit Eady might have a legitimate case against Bravo and Truly Original NBC Universal. Eady reports the incident at the salon event to defendants, and defendants conduct an investigation that's been more from the show a week later. Following the incident, Eady specifically and immediately reported Moore's actions, Moore's harassing conduct rather to defendants. Indeed, on June 7th, 2024, the day after the salon event, Eady texted role producers the statutory language of OGCA 161190, Georgia's Revenge P law, and later texted those same producers, now I need to know everything that was on those posters for legal reasons. That day, defended Truly executives, including Hawken, Lawson, Cox, and Humphrey, called Eady to discuss the incident. On information, I believe Hawken, Lawson, and Cox called Eady from their offices in New York while Humphrey was in Atlanta. During the call, Eady was distraught and emotional. She asked what producers were going to do about what happened to her. Lawson said they were going to investigate the incident, get handled. Cox apologized for the incident and said that Eady could take off as much time as she needed on the call. Humphrey stated that she had no idea what Moore had planned. Eady was skeptical because Humphrey knew that Eady did not want to attend the salon event and pushed Eady to go. That's very true. On the call, Eady asked to see the photographs that Moore had displayed. Halton, Lawson, Cox, and Murphy said it was too soon. They would review the footage and investigate. That should have been available to Brit. Absolutely. Soon after the incident, Eady has seen posts on Instagram and social media sites discussing the incident at the salon event. Bloggers and media organizations began contacting Eady for a comment on the story. Eady was also the subject and target of harassing comments on social media. Additionally, the online rumors were fueled by the post of cast member Bruce Sedora, who genuinely confirmed in a post on Twitter the incident at the salon event. During the call the day after the salon event, Eady reported Halton, Lawson, Cox, and Humphrey about these online post media outreach and harassment she received, as well as Moore's posts. Soon after the salon event, audio recording taken at the event leaked, allowing Eady to hear exactly what Moore had said during the event. On the information and belief, defendants reviewed the footage of Moore's speech and the poster boards she displayed and conducted investigation within a week. On June 6, 2024, incident of the June 6, 2024 incident, defendants suspended Moore from filming the 16th season of Roa, specifically due to her presentation of the graphic pornographic photo purportedly depicted Eady indeed or around June 14th, 2024, as well before any episodes of season 16 aired. A source for Rowan made the following statement to Entertainment Tonight. Kenya was suspended for allegedly depicting Brittany performing a sexual act at the grand opening of her Kenya Moore hair spa in Atlanta. From images allegedly found online, the network can still reveal the content Kenya displayed during filming. As she had previewed the day after the incident, in the weeks and months that followed, Eady repeatedly told the show producer she intended to seek legal relief concerning more sexual harassing and legal use of revenge against her. Defendants thus knew that Moore's representation of that photograph was not potentially illegal, but not just potentially legal, but also beyond the bounds of their show, their own internal rules, expectations of its participants and fans, as Moore confirmed in a YouTube video on April 19, 2025. Moore was forced to engage a local attorney to seek out legal advice about her actions, in particular, whether they violate revenge P laws. And Kenya Moore said that they did not violate those laws, but the gag is they did. Despite suspending Moore for her horrific sexual harassment, Eady defendants themselves sexually harassed Eady by listening and filming discussion of the lines for months, forcing Eady to discuss and reference her sexual history on camera, effectively airing the incident the following year. Despite Cox assurance the day after the salon event that he can take off as much time, off after the salon event as she needed. Only 2 to 3 days later, Humphrey began calling Eady and telling her that she needed to go back to work and she would not be paid. She did not resume filming during this time. 2 of the castmates had informed Eady that the defense had been filming them, discussing the incident due to the significant time commitment demanding from her time of filming at Rowan. Eady did not have time to focus on her other business, and her only significant source of income at this time was her per episode pay at Rowan. Eady did not want to resume filming or discuss the incident on camera, but was repeatedly persistently pressured by defendants to do so. Producers encouraged Eady to be emotional as possible and to get all out on camera. Me discuss the incident at the salon event. Detailed producers encouraged Eady to take control of the narrative by discussing the incident. And in substance, the better we get this out, the better the fans will understand, have empathy for you. Cox compared the situation to the Kim Kardashian sex tape, meaning Eady should use the salon event incident for positive publicity. Despite encouraging Eady to discuss the incident on camera, defendants did not inform Eady that explicit photograph did not inform Eady that the explicit photograph did not depict her, nor did they allow Eady to view the photograph that Moore displayed. In other words, defense allowed Eady to believe the photograph depicted her, which it did not. In the face of this pressure, Eady repeatedly consistently told defendants that she was not comfortable discussing the incident at the salon event. Eady also informed Cox and Humphrey that she found it extremely difficult to discuss the incident for her family. Defendants, however, coerced Eady to discuss the photograph and the incident on camera, including in front of her family. Not only did they collectively pressure her into thinking that it was in her best interest to do so, but they also effectively told her she would get little to no camera time and potentially no payment if she did not do so. Faced with this immense coordinated campaign, Eady ultimately gave into pressure to discuss the incident during Eady's first filming day after the salon event, which came after several days of defendants pressuring Eady to discuss the incident despite protestations. Producers employed by defendant Truly filmed Eady discussing the event for her husband Pharrell. On camera, Eady discussed the public reaction to the incident, saying, "I have all Kenyan's minions, my friends, my colleagues, my business partners DM me. I began texting more, doesn't even realize the damage she caused because Eady was falsely led to believe that the explicit photograph depicted her, and because of the pressure from producers, Eady was also forced to discuss her sexual history to do so on camera. The producers also orchestrated a conversation between Eady and her mother on the same day, which was filmed. The producers pressured Eady to speak up to her mother about the incident at the salon, and by doing so to discuss her sexual history with her mother on camera during an extremely sensitive and vulnerable time. Eady also discussed on camera the emotional psychological effect that the public response to the incident had caused, stating this ordeal has definitely taken a toll on my mental health 100%. Every time I get on social media, so an article about this, everything when you Google my name is now the situation. You can't remove what's now on the internet, so I'm going to have my guard up because I just don't know what to expect from this group of ladies. During this period, Eady repeatedly had sessions with one of the defense psychiatrists, Dr. Alicia Herbosch, to discuss the trauma of the salon event. After Eady restarted filming, Eady tried to learn more from crew members about what Moore had shown on poster boards on set. Eady asked Cox if she could see the footage from the event showing the poster boards Moore had displays. Cox responded, the footage was property Bravo. She cannot show it Eady. Here's the thing. All that shit flies out the window when it's me. That's how I truly feel about it. When it's me, no, I'm a part of the property of Bravo. So now I have rights. Okay. Cox's assertion was nonsensical because Eady was subject to a confidentiality agreement and because provisional versions of episodes and content were routinely shared with floor participants prior to airing. More information and believe the crew members also been instructed not to substantially discuss the incident at the salon. The incident at the salon with Eady on set. Eady asked crew members if they had captured footage of the post boards. In response to Eady's questions, crew members will only say that they stopped filming before more poster boards. These statements were obviously nonsensical and false, perhaps most clearly by the fact that discussed in for 259, defendants ultimately aired certain footage of the poster boards in the episodes they aired the following year during both during filming and surprised that Eady's castmates discussed the incident at the salon event with her in late June after the filming of an episode on location in Nashville. Cast member told Eady that another cast member Door had given her the information using the poster board and all information. I believe this conversation was not filmed. So Drew Sidora is in this because if you remember in the reunion, Drew Sidora had a face. And that question was asked during the reunion, three-part reunion. As alleged below, defendants again forced Eady to discuss the incident at the salon even months later while filming confessional segments after the main tape of the series ended. On information and belief, despite Eady's clear anguish from the salon event and protestations about more SH, defendants encourage and facilitate other castmates to make unwanted, highly offensive sexual explicit comments to Eady on camera. On or around June 18th, 2024, castmate Drew Sidora asked Eady, did you ever sell the cat furniture prostitution? On or around July 5th, castmate Angela Oakley told Eady that she had stretch marks miles around her mouth for furniture fellatio. There's nothing wrong with tiger stripes, okay? And Angela, she had kids, so obviously she's got stretch marks and miles around her mouth as well, okay? So, like, come on now. Castmate Shamia Moore repeatedly told Eady that she was a whore on camera, including on or around August 14, 2024. And Shamia, you're not able to really have children like that. Now, that was not fair when that was brought out, right? So, right is right and wrong is wrong. And you want to call and you want to use Kelly Farrell your attack dog to call Portia treatment. And you went after Drew Sidora about a bag that the designer even said that bag was real. So, shut the fuck up. And then you did that fake apology shit, that long ass YouTube video that was like you were looking off somewhere else. Shut the fuck up. Like I said, these comments violate among other things the defendant Truly's workplace RITW policy on information belief defendants to no remedial action against these castmates. Sexual harassment of Eady. Roll confessional segments were filmed between September 2024 and March 2025. All confessionals were filmed in a studio in Atlanta. During the filming of confessionals, producers will request cast members discuss the events of the episode as though it just happened, given the impression that the confessions were filmed contemporaneously with the rest of the series. Now, that is a true fact. Sometimes, depending on the event, right, it can be filmed right after the event or at the end of the season. They'll pull up the footage and then they will respond to it, right? So there is that. During filming these confessionals, producers will also give cast members information details they had not had before or to prompt a response, despite Eady again saying to producers in no uncertain terms that she did not want to discuss the incident at the salon event. During these confessionals, Cox pressured Eady to discuss the incident in detail, to be emotional as possible about the incident and reference her sexual history during the segments. Eady again gave into pressure from Cox because she did not want to lose her job at Row or her opportunity to receive bonuses. More information and belief between the beginning of filming on March 9, 2025, defended Bravo added to the footage obtained from filming of the cast-produced episodes of Row, the 16th season of Row premiered on March 9, 2025. More information and belief defendant Bravo was responsible for all decisions regarding editing the episodes, creating, distributing advertisements for the series, and the ultimate airing of the series. More information and belief each episode of Row and each advertisement for Row was edited broadcast from New York City. And then, of course, prior to the premiere, defendant's producer released promotional material for the new season that referenced the incident at the salon event to start drama into late viewers. For example, on January 30th, 2025, Bravo posted a video on its YouTube channel Tile sneak peek, your first look at the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16. Bill depicted more at the slime event, displaying poster state to guest saying, "Who is this hoe?" Brit Eady surveyed, followed by shots of guests at the event gasping. Next scene, cut to a depiction of Eady crying, saying she thinks this is okay. Taken together, the scene is clear to depict more making it harmful. Statements about Eady. This is the premiere of the 16th season of Roa. Introduced Eady by making reference to one of the most humiliating aspects of the aftermath of the slime event. Specifically, while other cast members were introduced by references to their marriages and friendships, first line spoke about Eady that was used in the show all in a split second. Everything changed. Now I have to talk about sucking dick with my mother. On April 7, 2025, episode 5 of Roa aired and broadcast significant portions of more sexually explicit, sexually harassing behavior at the slime. In particular, the episode depicted more stand did a little research and found out who this bitch is, displaying poster boards containing blurred out photographs and some text. The episode showed a poster board that read, "Who is this hoe?" accompanied by photographs that were blurred out. Nonetheless, the episode depicts more, pointing to the blurred photographs saying Brit Eady is her name. This is the same girl. So this is the scene right here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The episode next show, more staying. Her private investigators found more evidence for me displayed another poster board. So the poster board was also displayed blurred photographs as the poster board was displayed. The episode showed more staying reference to Eady. She used to be a video hoe. She was a trap video hoe. Exhibit A and Exhibit B. Moving on. Child. The next episode depicted more saying they kept sending me information. Hold up, another poster board. The contents of the poster board were not visible on episode. The episode then depicts gas and shock and sounds of shock from the guests as long as the next episode cuts to the screen in black, containing due to the graphic nature of these photographs. Braylon has chosen not to exhibit them. Despite claim of seeing that the photographs were too graphic to be displayed, defendants edited the episode to not only describe in detail what they depicted, but to imply the graphic photograph actually depicted Eady, specifically immediately after the above screen was displayed. A voiceover from no cast member, which displayed say, "Girl, ain't nobody trying to see this girl suck in nobody's dick. That's so crazy." Portia Williams, Angela Oakley. Thus, the episode did not depict the photograph itself. Defendants editing of the episode clearly represented to viewers that more have displayed a photograph depicting Eady for inflation. Both clips of the incident, confessional portions filmed thereafter. Cast members expressed their mortification and shock after the photographs before being displayed. At the conclusion of the episode, another black screen was displayed that contained the text based on Kim's behavior. The decision was made to see the film with her this season. Right here is that tile card, and then of course, Watch What Happens Live, April 7th, 2025. Defendants Eady were described by defendants to travel to New York to appear with Watch What Happens Live, which cast members of Bravo's reality television franchise discussed recent episodes of Andy Cohen. During the 3 days she was required to be in New York City, Eady also did several media interviews with New York City-based media outlets pursuant to Bravo's scheduled itinerary. While Eady was in New York City, Roa producers Clint Cox and Brosk would invite Eady to have dinner with privately while at dinner. Eady asked Cox and Brosk if she could actually see the photographs, could see the actual footage depicted in the poster boards, but more at displays. Cox and Brosk implied that they thought they could make it happen, but did not indicate that they would take the steps to show Eady the photograph, nor did they take such steps. In fact, despite Eady's repeated requests to defendants to see the photograph displayed at the salon, that none of the defendants or their employees or agents ever showed Eady the photograph or any recordings or images of the poster board that contained the photograph. At the same dinner in New York, Cox and Brosk told Eady that she was approved to be on season 17 of Roa. However, Cox and Brosk also informed at the same time that the show planned to be more for season 17, despite what more had done. Indeed, Cox and Brosk even asked Eady how she would feel about film with more again for season 17, and they asked them quickly, suggesting that was not a choice for Eady, but that she wanted to continue to film for season 17. She would have to do alongside more. Eady was horrified and traumatized to learn at this dinner the defendants were still inclined to implore more after Moore had recently sexually harassed her, and that they were willing to engage to subject Eady to work with Moore again. Eady was equally horrified and traumatized to learn at this dinner that defendants were actually conditioning Eady's continued employment in season 17 or working with more her harasser. Each of the participants at that dinner knew that Edie had suffered significant emotional distress, remorse, harassing actions, yet they insisted Edie appear on the next season with more. So there is that there. And then, of course, all this here, right here on May 29th, Edie emailed director Tony Tong of NBC to express her concerns about the ongoing harassment campaign against her. Edie wrote an email of the contents of the forthcoming film of the reunion for the reunion episode C16, which was attended by each one of the castmates and scheduled for June 15th. I feel like this is an opportunity to try to silence me, and whatever will take place at the reunion is no longer just a work environment, but a hostile smear campaign. She also had a call with several executives where she reiterated her concerns. Haljan, defendant of Truly's Mystical Affairs, who has sent the anti-discrimination and anti-retaliation policies to each of the castmates before filming, and attaching the Truly original anti-violence policy. However, on information belief, does not take any coercive action. Because of her concerns with the ongoing sexual harassment and defendants failure to create corrective action, Edie also declined to appear on the C16 reunion tape on around June 5th, 2025. We fear that Moore and Farrell will harass her by falsely accusing her of undergoing vaginal rejuvenation surgery by calling her a prostitute. And then she was scheduled to be on a taping for Watch What Happens Live on June 9th, 2025. And the taping aired live. Drew Sidor saying, Brit, the world wants to know, were you AOH? And did you sell it? And then Andy Cohen shot, responded, okay. On July 14, 2025, Edie informed the public that she would not be returning for season 17 of Broadway. So, just wanted to bring this up with you guys. I think I covered pretty much everything. Because I definitely want this show to be clipped for sure, and then there is more. As a result, Edie suffered significant damage to her brand and earning potentials from endorsements. Although Edie felt the impact of defending sexual harassment all over the country, especially home-based harassment, she felt a significant impact of that harassment in New York City. So, a very, very ironclad lawsuit. You know what I mean? And I hope that she wins it. I really, really do. I hope that she wins it. And Edie had particular interest in doing New York-based work because of the secret nature and the ability to expand her reach in the most popular geographic area because her husband is from New York City. However, the aftermath of episode 6 airing, Edie was informed of these brands and venues along her interest because of concerns of Edie's image from this law event. Thus, Edie lost her opportunities. She had been in talks with hotels and New York City-based brands and venues about doing appearances in New York for financial compensation. She was deprived of other New York-based opportunities, and she was deprived of New York and New York City-based job opportunities as she returned from season 17, which would tape additional episodes in New York City, including episodes of Watch What Happens Live and season reunion, which had previously been filmed in New York City. To this day, Edie experiences severe feelings of depression, anxiety, as well as insomnia. Edie experienced severe depressive moods and anxiety in the immediate aftermath, felt as though she was not going to survive what happened to her. Edie has been unable to receive psychological psychiatric help because she experiences severe anxiety about her privacy being violated and worries that if she attempted to receive medical treatment, private medical information would be revealed to the public and used to further humiliate her. She lost business opportunities due to depressive symptoms, has difficulty getting out of bed. Edie does, as therefore means other opportunities for business employment, and she also has suffered reputational harm because of her public sexual harassment, which has harmed her personal relationships and cost her business opportunities and lost privacy of life. Count 1, discrimination on the basis of sex and gender. Defendants Truly Bravo. Count 2, discrimination on the basis of sex and gender. Defendants Truly and Bravo. That's count 2. Count 3, discrimination on the basis of sex and gender. Atlanta Code ordinances of Art v. 94, defendants Truly and Bravo. So the first 2 right here was New York and New York. But then count 3 is, sorry, I'll count 3. Right here is Atlanta. Count 4, retaliation, New York. Count 5, retaliation, New York. And that is Trulia Bravo. Count 6, retaliation, Atlanta Code. Trulia Bravo. Count 7, breach of contract, New York law, defendant Truly. Count 8, in breach of an implied covenant of faith and dealing of New York law, defendant Truly. So that's count 8. Count 9, negligence, Georgia law, defendants Truly and Bravo. And count 10, intentional infliction of emotional distress, New York and Georgia law, Truly and Bravo. And then, of course, right here, prayer for relief. Basically declaring and adjudicating that defendant's acts alleged here within violated the rights under the laws of New York, state of New York, city of New York, and state of Georgia, and judgment in favor of Eady, and shall recover compensatory damages against each of the defendants, jointly and severely to compensate Eady for her economic damages, including back pay, front pay, past, present, future pain, suffering all of the hardships arising from defendant's conduct, and punitive damages against defendant, awarding Eady the costs in the suit herein, including but not limited to fees, granting such other further relief as court deemed proper, dated November 20th, 2025, by Bloodick White LLP. Y'all, that's the lawsuit. That's all I got for you. I'm glad we got through all of it. Like I said, I want Brit Eady to win because I think it's long overdue that reality TV had a reckoning. I believe Kenya Moore should be sued for every fucking thing she's got. Abso-fucking-damn-lutely. I think that this should gut Bravo significantly. You can't do wrong by people and not expect wrong to be done by you. You can't expect to ask for construction when you cause destruction. You can't expect to move like thirsty toxicity and expect for you to be quenched with blessings. Oh, my Lord, that was a word. You cannot move like thirsty toxicity and expect to be quenched with blessings. You cannot expect to move like thirsty toxicity and expect to be quenched with blessings from God. That's a word. With that being said, I'm going to turn off my camera now because we do the whole show for over an hour. Yes, we have. Yo, that's all I got for y'all. Truly, thank each and every one of you for being here. I love you. I value, I appreciate you all so much. Like I said, a little bit later on, we will be talking about the Megan Thee Stallion Malago Rams case for sure. So please be back here for that. But yeah, that's all I got. I think we did the assignment and everything else in between. And of course, as you guys know, we always do a positive news story here. So here is this here. The hospital fires doctor and nurse who denied pregnant black mom who gave birth in the car. So Raymond Gray, CEO of the hospital, announced the firings publicly stated physician and nurse responsible for Wells' evaluation are no longer employed with the hospital. Brady issued a direct apology to the family. Now the hospital to listen to Ms. Wells' concerns, emphasizing that no healthcare system can call itself compassion when it ignores a patient who is clearly in pain. So good on that. Glad the baby is healthy, and praise be unto God for this wonderful family, the Wells family. One love, much love, all love. I feel love is in the right back to you. Bye, everybody. Oh, sorry. I didn't even see it right here. Okay, here's the story. I'll do it very quick. Once again, here it is here. Hospital fires doctor and nurse who denied pregnant black mom who gave birth in the car. According to Fox 32 Chicago, Raymond Grady, CEO of hospital, announced the firings publicly, saying that the physician and nurse responsible for Wells' evaluation are no longer employed at the hospital. Gray issued a direct apology to the family, acknowledging that the hospital failed to listen to Ms. Wells' concerns, emphasized that no healthcare system can call itself compassionate when it ignores a patient who is clearly in pain. Congratulations to the Wells family. Shout out to Francis Health Crown Point for doing the right thing, and let the healthcare system evolve, because America should be better than this. One love, much love, all love. Phil Love is in the right back to you. Bye.
I thought I should tell you, they've been talking about you. Yeah, they've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that they've done everything they could to stop you and everything they could to block you, but you still win. They've been talking about the fact that they have undermined your success and they have tried to sabotage your seasons, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that even though they don't like each other, they get together to try to kill you, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that you were voted least likely to succeed, but like cream, you keep rising to the top. They've been talking about how they tried to burn your world down, but like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes. They've been talking about you, and you know what they say? Oh, she's just lucky. He's just lucky. But no, you ain't lucky. You're anointed. You got something on you. You got favor on you. You got power on you. You were born to win. Now they can call it luck, but it's grace. They can call it luck, but it's favor. But whatever they call it, it doesn't matter, because you know what God calls you? Do you know what God calls you? A winner.
Prepare for a journey beyond imagination, beyond belief, beyond anything you've experienced before. Universal Epic Universe, a new theme park where you'll step through extraordinary portals to 5 immersive worlds. Prepare for a cosmic voyage of discovery, an isle of fire-breathing excitement, a shadowy world of monsters and mystery, new wonders in the wizarding world, and a new way to play. Plus the splendor of a magnificent resort hotel overlooking the park. It's all new excitement at Universal Orlando Resort. A week's worth of vacation thrills with 4 amazing theme parks, a variety of spectacular themed hotels, and incredible dining and entertainment. It's all at Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll find new adventures every day. Explore the astonishing worlds of Universal Epic Universe at Universal Orlando Resort.
Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content.
Child, Braylon been over there doing his thing, minding his GD business, staying out of trouble, trying to get the folks some positive stuff to talk about. Besides lying all the damn time. Child, Braylon been over there doing his thing, minding his GD business, staying out of trouble, trying to get the folks some positive stuff to talk about. Besides lying all the damn time. Child, Braylon been over there doing his thing, minding his GD business, staying out of trouble, trying to get the folks some positive stuff to talk about.